Australia's immigration debate just exploded live on air. One side is warning of a system breaking under pressure. The other is demanding answers that no one wants to give. And in the middle of it, claims of fake skilled migration, visa loopholes, and a country being pushed to the edge. What started as a policy discussion turns into a full political detonation. Pauline Hanson doesn't hesitate. She goes straight at the numbers, calling the system rubbish, saying Australia is being flooded through student visas, overstays, and so-called skilled programs that don't deliver what they promise. Every question thrown at her is a pressure test, and she refuses to back down. It's about whether anyone in power is actually in control of it.
You would further cut the overseas student intake into this country. Labor's started to reduce it already. You would further cut the number of overseas students coming into this country, and you would cut back the skilled immigrants program.
The skilled immigrants, Chris, cripes. We've had 190,000 in permanent visas come in as if they're skilled. Guess what? Only 5,000 of them were actually skilled in the construction industry. And then you go back to this last year, 23-24. Chris,
there'll be plenty of people involved in
people.
Hang on one second, though. The issue here, though, is when you get into the specifics, if you're cutting back overseas students, that's going to be a huge financial setback for the university sector and some flow-on industries, of course, with accommodation and the rest of it. And also, many industries are saying they are crying out for skilled labour, and we can't afford to cut our skilled migration. So these will create issues. They're not simple policy positions.
Chris, if you look at the students coming into the country, which Labor is going to put at 295,000 students coming into the country, a lot of these students don't even attend the universities. As soon as they get here, quite a number of them actually come out and say, no, we're going to change our course. We're going to go to a vet course now. And then they take up working. So a lot of them are using it as a backdoor to get into the country.
No doubt.
So is that a benefit to us? No, it's not. So that needs to be reined in. We've got nearly 400,000 people that have come in here, overstayed their visas, now got bridging loans, and of course they're working, making the money, sending it out of the country. So our whole mass migration, go and ask the Australian people how they feel about it. Go and ask them if they can actually own their own home. Ask them if they get rental accommodation. Go and ask the people who are on the streets in this country. I've got more of an immigration policy than what the coalition have.
Well, maybe you have, and this is my point. If you're going to portray yourself as a party of government, you need more of that detail out there, because a lot of people agree that immigration is too high, but it's also, there's a lot of specifics that need to be addressed when you start to wind it back. I'm wondering, given how hard it will be for you to win lower house seats, I'm not saying you won't, but it'll be hard for you to win a large number of lower house seats. Would you be in a position now to suggest that when you talk about possible governance, that you would be interested in being involved in a coalition government with the Nationals and the Liberals?
Of course. That's the only way to move forward. Because I'm not going to be government, and either is, by the looks of it, either is the coalition or the National Party. So the fact is that I am a Conservative at heart, and I would work with them to give them supply. Would I join up to the rabble that they are at the moment? No way in the wide world. But I have my strong policies that we need, because they're doing nothing to address the important issues that the Australian people want. And if you want to look at policies, when was the last time you went to my website to have a look at my policies, Chris, to criticise One Nation? And I tell you what, they've been picking up a lot of my policies. I see today that the National Party now saying they'll support, a cut to the beer and to the spirits tax. That was my policy. The superannuation scheme for housing is my policy.
What's your take on this immigration debate? Is the system broken or just misunderstood? Drop your opinion in the comments below.
Yep,
the excise tax, cutting it,
you've
my
been
policy.
Clear on a lot of this stuff.
Immigration, my policy.
No good.
Net zero, my policy.
It's
the
no
voice,
good.
My policy.
But it's no good getting defensive about me asking some questions about this policy detail. There's just going to be a lot more of this in the next 2 years. That comes with the territory of polling at 26%. That's fine.
I totally agree, Chris.
And it's
But
good to
do
hear.
not give me credit for credit's due for my raising these issues with you over
I'm-
the years, time and time again.
Pauline,
and when I hear that
yes.
people get on here like Matt Canavan says I haven't got policies, he keeps picking up my policies, so I've got something to offer,
right.
haven't
Well,
I?
I haven't
if
had
I'm
Matt-
giving them my policies.
I haven't had Matt on my show for years, but he's a good man. But he hasn't said that here. It's very interesting that you're talking about this idea, Nationals, Liberals, One Nation coalition, because that's one way that this all could head. The problem here is the big picture issue here, and I'm interested in your thoughtful response to this, and that is, while the coalition vote or the right of centre vote is split, but we've had Palmer in the past, yourself, Nationals, One Nation, a few other splinter groups.
This isn't just another immigration debate. This is a full-blown political warning shot being fired live on national television. Pauline Hanson comes in swinging hard, rejecting the entire skilled migration framework and calling it rubbish straight to camera. She doesn't soften it, she doesn't hedge it. She goes all in. According to her, Australia isn't just facing immigration pressure, it's drowning in people she claims aren't truly skilled, with visa loopholes being used as a backdoor into the country. And the interviewer tries to push back. The argument is simple. If you cut student visas and skilled migration, you don't just hit numbers, you hit universities, industries, construction, and the entire labor pipeline. But Hanson doesn't move. She doubles down, pointing to inflated student intake figures, visa overstays, and what she calls a broken system that the public is already turning against. Then the tone shifts even further. She doesn't just argue policy anymore, and she frames it as national survival, talking about housing pressure, rentals, and Australians being locked out of basic home ownership. That's where the debate stops being technical and starts becoming emotional. But the real pressure point hits when coalition politics enters the conversation. Because suddenly this isn't just immigration, it's power, alliances, government formation. Hanson openly signals willingness to work with the Nationals and Liberals in a potential coalition, while simultaneously calling the current political system a failure that has pushed voters toward her party. And that's the underlying tension here. The interviewer is trying to pin her down on specifics, numbers, trade-offs, consequences. But Hanson keeps flipping it back to one core message. The system is broken, the public is angry, and she says she's the only one actually responding to that anger. Whether you agree with her or not, one thing is clear. This wasn't a policy discussion that stayed calm. It was a political pressure cooker. And the real question now is not just about immigration. It's about where this rising anger in the electorate actually ends up next election.